say that's weird because that's how I felt the first time I was forced to clap for 20 minutes at a Tony Robbins event. I didn't know what this was. What is this? Why are we clapping? There was 10,000, maybe 20,000 people clapping. And one of the things that he said was that motion equals emotion. The emotions that you feel, whether it's a lack of happiness, a lack of excitement, is all attributed to how you're using your body, right? Think about how many of us, without thinking, sit on our cell phones. Some of y'all, I know you don't sit with perfect posture at your cell phone, but you sit with your cell phone, your shoulders are slumped, your head is down. If you're 33 like me, you're probably doing one of these, right? And you just scrolling. What's happening as you do that is you're sending signals to your mind because your mind only understands survival. It's a very archaic muscle. It understands the signals that you give it. So it doesn't know if it's fighting a saber-toothed tiger or messing around with the parametric equalizing on Fruity Loops. It doesn't know. It just knows what you send it. Many a times we sit here at our computers 4 and 5 hours at a time. I'm no different. Not paying attention to what we're physically doing. Right? So we're sitting in front of a laptop, our shoulders are slumped, our head is down. If you were to see me at a bus stop and I didn't have a phone in front of me, what do I look? What do I look like? What emotion would you give me?
Sad.
Interesting. How many times you've been sitting out making a beat and the weirdest thought comes to you out of nowhere that has nothing to do anything with production?
Yeah.
You may not want to admit it, so I'll be the one to admit it. There's been times I've been sitting at this beat and I would say, am I gonna die this week? That sounds ridiculous, right? I don't want that beat at all, right? It's like, that's one of them omnisphere pads that you What omnisphere pad is that? I'm skipping over that. I say it tongue-in-cheek joking, but it's true. There's a lot of things that we take for granted all the time we spend in front of our phone, right? Now imagine this experience of you sitting in front of your phone, right? I got a marker on my hand. Sitting in front of my phone, I'm slumped over, I'm sending a signal to my mind that I am depressed, that I'm in the low place. I'm sending it to my mind on a regular basis of whether I'm making a beat or whether I'm sitting in front of my phone. Now imagine going to Instagram and you go past a Superstar O post and you see him pulling up in his Lamborghini and then going to his studio and then you're saying like, oh man, one day, but it's not today. I gotta go clock into work. And your shoulders are doing the thing again. The reason why I wanted to share that first is because among all the things that I had to learn to get to a place to where I was working full time with my music and I'm in a comfortable place, I'm able to provide for my family. Before I had to learn anything, I had to unlearn a lot of bull, a lot. Most of my energy went to unlearning. There's a lot of things that I assumed that I knew because of course, you guys, some of you know that I worked with Kendrick Lamar, I worked with Absol, I worked with them in the very early years. I met Kendrick a little while before he met J. Cole. And I remember the excitement in him because he wasn't a double XL freshman. He was still on the grind trying to become that next. He knew he was going to be next. He knew he was going to be taken care of. But he was working. They were all working. I remember being in the studio and seeing pans and pans of just cold fries and Schoolboy Q being like, at one point in time, he was not the top priority as he is now. He was the new dude coming in there. Matter of fact, maybe some of y'all have seen it, but one of his first beats that he rapped over was a beat that I made on MTV Music Generator with a bunch of gunshots and 808s. Because I was hoping J-Rock was going to rap over that, because at that time, J-Rock was that dude. And I was living in Carson, right? And it was very close to Compton where they recorded. They actually recorded in Carson in the studio. They still do, to this day. But having that experience early on and seeing that whole situation circulate and go where it went, I was always convinced the industry was where it's at. I have to go there, right? Because no matter what I was doing at home, all I had to do was go to the studio and talk to Kendrick and realize, what you do last week? Oh man, I met J. Cole, man. He was so cool, man. Like I was watching him at the Double XL shoot, and what you do, Curtis? I was I was on a PlayStation making beats in my grandma's patio. You want to listen? So in my mind, that always represented the next level of success. I have to get that. How many people have been in that mindset or probably still feel like the industry is the only way? I'm not expecting a whole lot, but how many, honestly, I'm not gonna single you out, but sure, there it is. And I'm not here to change your opinion about that, because I feel like it's your 24 hours, right? This is your career. And at the end of the day, had I listened to one singular person dictate every direction that I went going into this industry, I would have left it very depressed, even more depressed than what I went through, right? Because as many of you know, I started off making beats on a PlayStation. Eventually I graduated and stopped recording I used to get this Radio Shack microphone. It was for operators. Remember the headset with the microphone? Hi, operator, how can I help you? I was rapping on that. And I was putting it up to the TV. My grandmother had an old Zenith in the patio, and you pushed the volume, it only went up to 28. It wasn't a whole lot of volume, it definitely wasn't no bass. But I put that microphone up there and I didn't complain. And what I didn't understand then was that attitude, first thing I want to write down. Because these are the cornerstones. I'm going to break this down into two different sections, okay? So definitely bring out your pen. I'm not going to just talk you to death. These first things that I'm going to cover are the foundation. If you don't at least settle these thoughts in here, no matter how successful you get, it won't matter. You'll put yourself in situations where you'll make some decisions that just don't make any sense. It's like athletes. Like they come from a situation where they're making nothing. They're literally supporting their family off of a dream, some scholarship money, and then it just takes off. Then they get to the NBA and the NFL and they lose it all. And what do we see on the other side? How could you be so stupid? How could, oh man, if I had $24 million, man, you know what I would do? But then it's like, you gotta put the brakes on. Because I've seen what some of my friends do with $24. and I've always been convinced that what you do with $20 is what you're going to do with $20 million. The same responsibilities that you take with that. If you're down to your last $20 and you say, okay, $20 until Friday, it's Tuesday. Okay, well, I'm hungry, I gotta eat. I'm gonna go to McDonald's. You know what, man? My homie kinda hungry too, he need to eat too. Matter of fact, $12. So I just went through almost all my money and I got $8 left until Friday. You know what, I kinda got a sweet tooth, so maybe I should go ahead and get it. It's only $2, they got a deal, it's 4 for 2. Let's just go ahead and do that. But we don't understand that these are things that have been embedded into us, maybe from our parents, maybe from our upbringing, maybe from our environment. Maybe you learned it from somebody, you don't even know who you learned it from. But when I tell you, the first things that I had to do was unlearn. One of the things I had to unlearn was my attitude. Y'all gotta excuse my chicken scratch. I told you my wrist is just know that says attitude. I wish I hired somebody to write for me on the plane. But the first thing I had to change was attitude. I had a marketing teacher that told me one time one of the most brilliant things. I had no idea. I went to Orange Coast College, not too far away from here. I went to Orange Coast College trying to get into the music production department because my mom brought in a newspaper one time. My dad was like already done with me because I wasn't going to college and my dad is a professor. He was a professor at UCLA. He's been a professor at USC, and now he's a professor at Chapman. So he thought I was going the collegiate route, right? Mind you, he had a major issue with where I was taking things. But when it came to my mom, I found that ultimate support behind me. But once I chose to leave school, Pops was done. My mom's came to me one time in a very different way. They had different approaches. She said, son, I saw this article in LA Times about this school called OCC. They got a really good music production system. Maybe you're interested. And I said, you know what, I am interested. Went and signed up next week. Pops tried to yell at me to do it. It still didn't get done. There's just different approaches. That being said, I went there looking to get a music production certificate, ended up coming out with a marketing certificate because I just fell in love with it. There's a teacher there named Professor Morgan. He's still there to this day. So if you're in the OC area and you want to go ahead and take a course from a marketing genius, if there's anything that you respect from me, he's the foundation of it. He still works there. I got to get him a book actually because he's mentioning that book all the way throughout. But I had a class, the first class I ever took from him, he said, I'm not going to teach you anything about marketing today. I'm going to give you a choice. You can stay here and listen to the most important thing I'll tell you throughout this course, or you can go home. It was a night class. Anybody can just go home. And the conversation went as such. Your attitude determines your altitude. Feel free to write it down. Your attitude determines your altitude. Right? Your attitude determines your altitude. It's twofold when you think about that. Okay? The first way he described it is this. When you think about attitude, think about it as, oh man, this plane is about to be terrible looking. Okay? I promise the plane, that looks like a sperm. If you know anything about planes, they don't fly in straight lines. You didn't know that? They don't fly in straight lines. So if you're going from LA to NY, they don't go in straight lines. Matter of fact, they basically suggest a line. They go off track purposely so that they know how off track they are. So the idea of failure doesn't exist. Here's the thing about it. When they fall off track, they're able to now recalibrate and say, oh, we're this amount of miles off. Let's change that now. So many people, not just producers, so many people avoid doing that squiggly line because we want to go a straight line. We want everything to be perfect. When literally going off your path is what you have to do to get to your destination. That was the first thing he dropped on me, and I was like, yo, I'm here. I'm not going nowhere. What else you got for me? And so the second thing is that if your attitude determines your altitude, there are so many defeating attitudes that exist, especially when we talk about music producers. We talk about online music producers. There was an industry that I was a part of that was all about beating you down until you say yes. This is my experience. It might not be the same thing for everyone in here, but there was an industry that said, when you come in here, all that pride that you have, all that ego that you have, we're going to strip that from you until you go along with what we're saying. There were situations in which I found myself as a producer, because of my eagerness, somebody saw a come up. Somebody saw me and said, you're willing to do anything for this, aren't you? Come on into the studio. I'll introduce you to this person. I'll introduce this person. And so I went, just very eagerly, getting that energy in everywhere. Because at that time, my attitude was, everything's a win. Everything that I invest in is a win. Every investment is a good investment. What other business do you know that operates like that? But we're taught to pay dues in hip hop. Everything is paying dues. We're not taught to change and recalibrate once things are just not working. You know, we're taught we all have to be type beat producers. Nothing wrong with type beat at all. I've done it myself. But we're taught that that's the only way to go in. And it's shared by people who don't have your best intentions. They want you to follow their path so they can sell you their products. So there was an attitude shift that had to occur once I had a better relationship with failing and going off course. It was a long process, but that was very important for me. And then also too, my attitude towards the industry, as well as my attitude towards money. Money is green pieces of paper, but we all at some point need those green pieces of paper to take care of the responsibilities we have. These rooms are great. It's great to be having that synergy, but at night when it comes time, we're with our significant other and we have to pay our bills, nobody in here is going to take care of that except for us. And I had a mentor of mine that told me, he said, all these studios that you're jumping into, where I was traveling from the Inland Empire, from Rancho at the time. I was traveling from Rancho all the way to Long Beach and Gardena and LA when I didn't live out here because I only moved to the IE in 2009. I was traveling to all these studio sessions off of an idea. What I didn't pay attention to, bad investments, I'm accumulating debt, accumulating more debt, accumulating more debt. Nobody in the room cared about that debt. Is Curtis here? He's not? All right, let's keep it rocking. I got my first placement with Glasses Malone and Mac 10. And I thought I was about to get paid out. I thought it was about to be an amazing, amazing payout. I was making plans with money I didn't have.
That's the
I was
worst.
like, you know what? I'm about to get a PR, because I was a rapper at the time too. I'm about to get a PR. We're gonna get this PR work. I can afford that. This Cash Money at the time. Glass Malone and Mac 10 were signed to Cash Money. I'm like, come on, I got this. Making all these plans with money. Once again, it goes back to attitude. My attitude was that I got it. I finally got it. I can finally, at the time, I think me and my mom, we were living in Rancho, and it wasn't going so well, and financially we're in a place where we were losing money literally every day. She had to go back to work. It was during the financial crisis in 2009. I wasn't working at the time. I was trying to push this music forward, and it wasn't going anywhere. So this had to be that. I made this everything. So I literally got the call that I got my first placement. I couldn't afford the gas money to get down there. Right? And I adopted the idea. If you type in right now on YouTube, Curtis King, there's a video called Ratchet Still Jocking. Even though the hook is a song, and the hook goes, even though I'm feeling bummy, man, the ratchet still jocking. Why? Because I embraced being broke. It became a funny thing. It became a culture. That's an attitude issue. That is one of the cornerstones of what had to change. The second thing that had to change, the language in which I used. I'll erase them. Who in here believes in hypnosis? It's a weird question, Curtis. What if I told you that every day you're being hypnotized?
Yeah.
What do you think advertisement is? What do you think the foundation of marketing is? Psychology. What is the foundation of that? The foundation is I want your attention. I want your time. Social media, literally the way that I always tell the producers that I mentor, Sean, we talked about this. Social media is a drug. You're supposed to be selling it, not using it. Right? And I'm talking to you, but I'm talking as if there's a mirror in front of me because I can get caught into that loophole as well. The problem is that there's a lot of language that we use based upon that hypnosis that we've been given, right? There's certain words that trigger for us. We can't turn off that trigger for the word free. Why? Because there's power in free. There's power in language. That was one of the things I learned within the Tony Robbins conference that I knew I had to share in this event, is that the power of language is this, especially talking about with women. There are certain words that we know that are just off the table unless you're about to have a fight on your hands. Right? There are certain words that are off the table. And if you use them, you know what tension they're gonna do. However, if you redirect those words while you're playing Call of Duty, man, stop being a little bee and go in that cubby hole and shoot. The context of it changes. The value of that language changes. Now I want to flip that and start to say, how many times are you using language on a regular basis that is killing your beats? Killing your momentum? Killing your opportunity? Somebody asks you, what do you do, man? Oh, I make beats, but it's not a big deal. It's like, whatever, like, I kind of been doing 6 months, like, you know what I'm saying? It's no big deal. We're going back to the signals again. Those signals are being sent to your brain. So when you're sitting there making a beat, do not get it twisted. Those same things that you said to the person that just asked you that are now being reflected within your music. You don't have a beat block. You got a lack of inspiration. You've been beating yourself down. So that was another cornerstone for me, language. I had to figure out what words am I using that are not serving me. One of them was being broke. I'm too broke to go out. Your brain says, okay, let's process that. Put that into the database. And so what else became broken? My beats became broken. My mentality about buying my dog became broken because I did not buy my dog at first. And even further on, think about it, just this last year's when I made that video that went extremely viral. I'm pretty sure somebody's seen it in here. Producers, don't take FL Studio because the big boys came at me. But I'm telling you, even with success, that's something else. Come on, back to language. I don't know why I erased attitude, but you got it. Language was the big thing for me because I started figuring out, there's a lot of language that I'm using that is not serving me. What are some things that you think that you're saying about yourself right now that are not serving you? Just toss them out. What words do you describe your music career that you think are not serving you?
Am I good enough?
That's one. And that's a question that can echo in your head even when you're not talking to nobody. What's another one?
Amateur.
Amateur. Oh my gosh.
I'm guessing.
I'll tell you this is a big one too. Out of respect, I know earlier you were saying like your mama gave you a certain name and that's the name that you have. I had a PR tell me one time. She said, she known me since I was a little baby, right? It's my mom's friend. She's gonna give me some information. She said, what is your name? It's my name. I'm DeJuan, auntie. Like, I'm DeJuan. She said, what's your name? DeJuan. Like, do I need to give you another pronunciation? She said, no. What do you go by professionally? I said, Curtis King. She said, we're in a professional environment. You're always Curtis King. There is no turning that off. Language. There's power in language. When people come to you, they know I'm coming to you. I'm coming to you. I'm not coming to the representative of you. This is your business. This is a representation of me. So that's something else that I would even look into. But now that we at least plant the seed, I would like for you to take a few seconds and just think of some things. Think of some words. Just write them down. Write down at least 3 or 4 words that you think that you're using on a regular basis that are not helping you, but working against you. Even just some thoughts. Let's go beyond just words, because I'm pretty sure they're well thought out phrases for a lot of us.
I noticed that a few months ago, I used to, like a year ago, I used to just tell people I'm just some like small photographer. And I noticed certain people you tell that to will use that against you. They'll be like, I don't need to pay him, he's just some. So now, like, I'll be like, no, I'm a world-renowned photographer. Like, two people may know me in Switzerland, but not 1,000. But I'm still known around the world. So, and I notice I get more respect for speaking decent about myself rather than just kick myself to someone, so I don't seem like I'm just trying to. Sometimes people be too humble. You get me?
I'll tell you this, and I think that's sometimes a disconnect too with what humility is and what it actually means. And I think that if people confuse humility with meekness or weakness, and that's why we operate a certain way, or we feel like okay, so what you're saying, Curtis, I gotta pop my chest out. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you gotta own who you are, because this is what you're gonna be doing for the next 10 years. This is who you are, right? Imagine you walking up to Snoop Dogg and saying, Calvin, man, what's up with you, bro? Calvin? Isn't his name Calvin?
Yeah.
Calvin Broadus? Calvin Broadus? Like, you would never, what you been on my Wikipedia page? You're not Facebook friends, what is this? You wouldn't do that, because professionally known, he is Snoop, no matter how, but it doesn't matter, because although you think, it's funny, I don't know if you ever play a game, and you keep writing down those phrases too as I'm talking. You ever play a game of think about if Eminem never existed, and one of your rapper homies said, man, I got a new rap name, bro. What is it?
Eminem.
Eminem.
That's it? No, I'm gonna spell it E-M-I-N-E-M. The power is in the language, but it's also in what you do with that name. So that's something I want you to consciously think about. When we're talking about attitude, when we're talking about language, think about your physicality, because that does promote what kind of an attitude you have, what kind of language you have. If you spend 4 hours, which I know is not an exaggeration, 6 hours of your day slumped over, and you're saying worse things than a troll could ever say to you on the internet, because you know you better than you. You know you better than I do, so you know the pain points. I can only assume what the pain points are. Here's something else before we move on to the next thing. You asked me a question about a certain individual within the community. I don't want to even give light to the name, but there's somebody who's been pushing an agenda that there's no money online to be made for music producers. You see that? There's a lot of sarcasm in that face. Let me stop. People in that position know the power of language. They know what that's going to do to you. If it sends you into a frenzy, it's mission accomplished. People are using that. Here's the thing about it. When you think about selling, most people in the world, if you told them, I have a way for you to make $20,000, or a way for you to protect the $20,000 that you already have, most people want to know a way to protect it. Why? Because fear is stronger. What you mean protect it? There's a chance I might lose this? Forget the new way. Most people want to know how to protect what they already have. Fear is stronger. So that being said, language is a power in language, and there's people who are toying with you on a daily basis. There's no money to be made on it. What? There's no money to be made on the internet. Are you sure about that? So you're trying to tell me this Toys R Us that got shut down, or the Toys R Us that went down because they couldn't establish an online business, this mega company called Amazon that is all internet based, to the point where they literally send you a measurement tape so that you can try on clothes at home and then order clothes. The internet is dead? No, it's dead for producers. Really? That's why I wanted you to share that information about your success. That exposing to that, the idea is not, you can do exactly that. That's not the idea. The idea is that you don't need to do all of that for most of our needs to be met. We just need a very small percentage to make that happen. And you only got to make it work for yourself. But when we start talking in the music producer community has to, no, Curtis King has to, you have to, and whatever that particular list is, that's all you got to do, right? But we get so caught up in this, it's almost like it's like one brain, and we're all like leeching to this brain like, oh no, if the brain says it's not possible, we can't do it. Am I wrong? No. So I don't say that to berate anybody. I don't say that. I say that to make sure that you're activated. The point of this is to make sure that you walk away from here knowing that your own independence means something. If you don't already know that, your independence means something. What you got going on right now, no, it is a big deal. I don't care how much money you're not making, how much money you're making. It is a big deal. And nobody's going to respect it as such until your language changes about that. That was a huge one for me. I'm not broke. I'm working. Right? If somebody says I'm broke and I give them $1, are they broke anymore? No. What's the value of $1? No. It's language, man. It's language. So change your attitude, change your language. Here was a big one for me. How many of you working 9 to 5s right now? Beautiful. I mean, I'm sorry. Yeah, you probably like, thanks, Curtis. I say beautiful because I look at 9 to 5s a lot differently than I did when I first got into this. When I started working, making beats full time, you know one of the things that I said? I was like, man, everybody should quit their job and do what I'm doing right now. I was like, man, forget your job, man. That's your man. What you say, gang? You working 8 hours a day, and you only got 8 hours. I sound like an infomercial. That's an infomercial voice right there. I was like one of those guys, like those entrepreneurs you hear, like sometimes Gary Vee kind of pushes that envelope. You scared? You scared? Quit your job. And it's like, can I quit after my next paycheck? Because the bill collectors don't stop calling. But I had to push myself away from that because what I started to realize was that the job is my angel investor. Whatever it is that you want to do, your job is your angel investor. Yes. Now I'm bouncing a little bit over into the next part, but I at least wanted to say that because the next thing that I wanted to talk about is energy. You just yawned. Your energy low?
Yeah.
You good? You good? Let's do it again. Let's do some clapping real quick. I got a trampoline in the house. We got an apartment. What are we doing in this? What are we doing with this big trampoline? Come on, man. In there listening to Bruno Mars 24 Karat. Because I know what that does to me. And I know what I need to do every day. I do it like this. We look at people. I put up a tweet today. We look at people in a group, football players who are, some. They don't even know. It sounds like mumble rappers, right? You don't know what they're saying, but it's like, oh, I'm hyped up. But if one person does it by themselves, they're like, man, that man is crazy. What's the difference? The fact that they're by themselves. So I do that every day because I know every day is game day. I know that something's going to come at me that wants to shake me up. So why don't I train myself before that? So this clapping, that's not something I'm doing just to get crowd participation. The clapping is something I hope to embed within you, that you find yourself in a rut, you don't like the beat you're working on, stand up. Because you probably got to change your posture, because that's been killing your momentum within that beat. You probably got to change the language that is occurring as you're making this beat. This beat sucks. I ain't never heard of trash look like this before. I ain't never going to Splice again. This is trash. Trash. And your mind is like, yup. How about we work on some more trash then? Because you're sending these signals to it. So the next thing that I wanted to talk about was unlocking energy. It was such an impactful day when I was exposed to the work of Mr. Tony Robbins. And it's part of the reason I'm doing the speaking that I'm doing today, right? Energy, lack thereof. Energy, emotion is created by motion. That's something that's a direct Tony Robbins quote. So many times that we find ourselves at low energy, it's because we're in environments like this where we're sitting down and watching Curtis King act a fool. That's not going to activate you. What does activate you is movement. What gets the cells moving around is going to get you moving around and getting you feeling better about something. You got that friend, anybody got a friend that is just annoyingly energetic all the time? Or just know somebody that's like that? Yeah. You about to crack up because you know somebody right now, you probably see the face. He was like... The beautiful thing about it is that person in the right situation is the perfect person to have. When you're in a low place, you probably don't want to be around this person all the time. Because it's like, I've had people tell me, like, Curtis, I don't want none of that perspiration. Get away from me. Leave. I'm probably the friend. That's why I'm laughing. But the thing that I wanted to share about energy, that friend is annoying until you have a flat tire. You're on a freeway. And you're like, dog, what am I gonna do? Oh my God, AAA just expired. They probably can't even find a tire for this kind of a car. Why did I get a foreign type of car anyway? Man, I can't do nothing right now. What is it, 9 o'clock? They probably gonna take an hour to get here. Your energetic friend is like, what we gonna do? What we gotta do? What we gotta do? Wait. A gas station? Hold on, let me go. Gas station's only a mile. If I start walking right now, I'll be there in about 2 hours. I get there, get the tank, da-da-da-da. What is the difference between that person and the person that's, man, damn.
One's trying to solve it.
What are they doing physically?
Lack of gratitude.
Negativity.
It's the same thing we do to ourselves on a regular basis. That's why I'm paying so much attention to the physicality, because it does affect us. That energetic person, that person that's able to like, what we gotta do? Forget all that, look, what we gotta do? All right, I'm starting to walk to the gas station right now. That person gets it done. And for me, I thought it was impossible for me to get to that place. Because I was always the guy that was like laid back, like, oh, that's cool. I would get hyped up when I would watch my Lakers or when I would see sports events, but I couldn't activate that for the things that I love the most. What was wrong with me? I kept asking myself, what's going on? Is this part of the grind, or am I being told to not go this route? What am I doing? What am I doing wrong? I'm doing all the right things that I hear all the people I look up to. They're telling me, go do this, go work with this person, network. Okay, what's networking? Okay, I learned it. It's just conversations and really just keeping contacts warm and checking up on people and seeing what you can give to them first as opposed to trying to take from them. I get that. What's going on with me? My buddy who was working at the time ended up buying the magazine and buying the CD because I couldn't afford the CD that I had a placement on. And because I was moved so far away and I barely had cell phone connection, they couldn't even contact me to give me a free copy of the CD. So here I am on MySpace, Twitter, trying to stunt, like, hey, your man's got a placement. But I'm dead broke. You can't say that to your Twitter friends. You're supposed to be on. And it causes you to live in a facade that you gotta keep up with. And there's so many that I know, there's that inkling, there's that side of you that's like, man, but I want the placement. Like I want to have names attached to what I'm doing. But I'm telling you, I got to a place where I finally said, you know what, the industry is not exactly the route that I need to be going. Right? And that's not saying that it isn't for anybody in this room. You do what you want to do with your life. This is your journey. You may have a completely different experience from mine. I would never discourage nobody from it. I'm just not about to use my time to show you how to get into that when I saw something else happen. So fast forward, I won't go into too much because a lot of this stuff is within my book, but I came into a financial situation where my back was against the wall. I came home from touring with my boy Mers, and I was $5,000 in debt. I still was only making $100 a month, maybe, from emails, selling beats. You want to talk about some deals? That's why I never laugh at the guys that say buy one, get 100 free. Because that sounded mighty tantalizing when I had a cell phone bill that wasn't getting paid. right? It sounded really tempting, like, yo, if you got $100, I don't care, it's just beats. And at that time, that's how I felt. But language was the issue once again. I got to a place where my back was against the wall. I called a friend of mine that was very successful in selling beats online. And I said, man, can we do lunch? I will pay for lunch just to pick your brain about how I can make some income doing what I'm doing. And so I got to that point. He showed me. I'm going to fast forward to this because I'm going to come back and revisit it. But he fast forward. He showed me. First month I made $2,000 selling beats. I had never made $2,000 working at Quiznos full time, 40 hours. You know what I mean? Like, I had never made that money at Quiznos. $2,000 the first month. The next month, $3,000. The next month, $7,000. The next month, $5,000 again. I didn't know what to do with myself because I wasn't taught the financial literacy. I didn't change the language. I didn't change the things that were the foundation. Physical didn't change. This is stuff that I'm trying to share with you now. Hoping that you embed that stuff first because the money is going to come. If you're valuable, if what you're doing is a service to other people, the money will come. That's the least of your concerns. It's the most of your concerns when you don't have it, obviously. The money's going to come. And I can say that confidently for anybody in the room. You just got to figure out what is your value you can actually give. The money's not going to be enough. Another story. Fast forward. I had a full 2 years that I've been doing this selling beats. Full 2 years. I'm making my money. Everything should be perfect. I found myself, and it's so ironic. Everything comes back to Anaheim. I don't even live in Anaheim. I was at downtown Disney. I had just left a MERS show, and I was walking by myself. It was around Christmas time too. And I had my pea coat on, and I was walking down, you know, they really make it real beautiful out there. They got the beautiful lights and all that. The smells are like, the downtown Disney, the funnel cakes and all that stuff. And I'm like feeling emotional. I'm feeling like a Drake record. And so, I'm just walking along by myself, and I'm just like, is this it? You got the money. Was this what it's all for? And it didn't feel justified. What was all that struggle for? What was all those times where moms had to create miracle meals, she used to call them, because we weren't getting enough money? What was this all for? Was this all for this? For paper? For money? It's not enough. I had a buddy of mine that said, bro, I think you should really read this book called The Go-Giver. I'm like, I'll get to it. So I was reading a lot of books at the time about marketing and making more money because that's what I was so obsessed about. And finally, at my lowest point, I remember being at downtown Disney, and I was like, yo, I don't want to live anymore. I was like, I'm pretty sure there ain't a lot of people around here that have that feeling. Yeah. Well, maybe want one person in. Okay, I don't feel so lonely no more. Thank you. But I remember I didn't want it no more. I was like, if this is what it's all for, it wasn't worth it. 14, 13 years deep into this. This is what it's for money? I heard a quote that says, some people are so poor, all they have is money. Yikes. What is that? So then I was that person. I was so poor that all I had was money. I didn't have fulfillment. One of the things that I learned within that event that I'm going to keep on referencing is that there are 6 basic human needs. You can write this down if you want. This is not within this. I'm just kind of going off on this because I think it's important. There's 6 basic human needs that every human being in this room needs at some point in time. Right? The first one is a need for certainty. This is directly from Tony Robbins. There's a need for certainty. You need to be sure that if I put my key inside this door, it opens up my car, or turns the car on, or you need certainty. You need to know that every 2 weeks you're going to get your paycheck. Okay? The next one is a need for uncertainty. We want a little surprise. We don't want things to be the same every single day. Right? The next one is a need for significance. We want to feel like what we do is important and it means something. Okay? So, certainty, uncertainty, significance. I'm not even using the board at this point. I'm off on it. And my wrist hurts a little bit. The next one is a need for love and affection. Okay? Those are the needs that most of us tap into, thinking that that's going to ultimately make us fulfilled and happy. We all tap into that on a regular basis. Give you an example. Somebody that does drugs, they get certainty knowing that that drug is going to give them a certain effect every time. Right? They feel significant because everybody's going to go check up on them on a regular basis. Yo, where's so-and-so, man? I can't heard her from her in a week. What's up? Like, what's going on? Like, what? They also feel love and connection when people finally find them and say, yo, we just need to get you help. What we got to do? Those needs are being met. That person is not happy and fulfilled. Why? Because there's two other needs. And these are the needs that are going to fulfill you and make you happy in whatever you're doing. The first one is growth. And the second one is contribution. Contributing to something that's bigger than you. Okay? Don't get it twisted. Those other four needs, you still need those. Because somebody, I'll give you an example of a positive example of that. Somebody who gives to a charity on a regular basis. They're giving. That makes them feel they're contributing to something that's bigger than just them. That makes them feel full of life, right? But also that makes them significant because they know that a donation from them means something to a group of folks. That's the second thing, okay? And I'm gonna tell you why I'm numbering these. So they get contribution, they get significance, and they feel love and affection from people who are hugging them like, thank you so much for what you just did. You get three of those things, you have an addiction, good or bad. But you have to loop in growth or contribution so that you'll be happy and fulfilled. That's what I was missing. Here I was, I felt significant because I'm making music full time. I'm doing something, I'm making more money than even my parents were making. I mean, I feel significant, you know what I mean? And also too, I love the certainty of knowing that because of how many years I invested into beats, I'm going to see a PayPal notification. I became addicted to PayPal notifications, matter of fact. You know what I mean? When I see that beat pop up, I was like, that logo became my best friend. I was like, for real? We got that one, huh? But I was not tapping into growth or contribution. And I felt the certainty, I felt the significance, even felt to a certain degree, I guess, the love and affection, because here are producers saying like, man, you're doing what I've always wanted to do, man. Like, you're doing it full time, man. Congratulations. I wasn't fulfilled. And so many of us fall into that first four, and we think that that's what life is all about. You get the money, that's it. For me, when I walked down that downtown Disney, that's the moment that I knew I had to unlock something. I didn't know what it was. I didn't have an identification of it for right now, those 6 needs that we have. So once again, certainty, uncertainty, significance, love and affection, the growth and contribution. So I read this book called The Go-Giver, and literally I'm gonna give a brief summary. This book basically taught you what it means to give value. When you hear the word value, what is the first thing that you associate with that?
Money.
Monetary, money, right? We think about a value meal. That's what I thought. Now think about how many freebies we giving out. Think about how many unequal exchanges we're getting with artists, right? Hoping that somehow, some way they'll pull us up the ladder and this will be it. This is how we do it. Everybody else does it like this, right? How much of that we don't actually get an exchange about. I learned about value, and I learned about, from a book called The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone, that it is your responsibility, and it's even a biblical reference as well, it's your responsibility to generate income. It's not an option, it's your responsibility. You gotta do this. You don't go to the gym because you that's cool if I go to the gym. Most people go to the gym, people that you see, like, there's a difference. You see that person in there that's just like, on their headphones with their beats, and I got this dude at my gym, he's so annoying. I talk to my wife about him all the time. He was sometimes, and I'm like, you didn't come here, you came here to flex. Like, you're not at the gym, and you got that one person, he ain't even got music. He on that elliptical, and he's going like 15 miles per hour. He don't see nobody, he ain't look at the TVs. Like, he look like he's bent on killing somebody. And so, what I'm hoping to embed from that, I'm trying to figure out what was the bigger point, is that you have to get more. You have to ask yourself of more, right? It's more than just the money. Money is your responsibility. You literally have to do that. I have to do that to take care of my family. That is a necessity. For some of us to take care of, the people that we love, or our family, not even just an immediate family. I got a son, I have a wife. My back is against the wall, I'm getting it done. That's that person on the elliptical. The person here reciting lyrics, and I'm like, you don't ever lift nothing, you just be, I'm like, fam, come on, man. Can I jump on the treadmill? Like, why you hogging that space? But there's so many people that we're gonna see within our journey that are literally just aimlessly walking around. So when I learned the idea of value, when I learned that, we were talking about this earlier, there's a mantra that has existed within our genre for a long time that is, the game is to be sold and not to be told. Who's heard that before? Man. Who's had it yelled at them before? Man, you're giving away too much information. Stop all that. Chill, man. Keep it for yourself. There's even like a meme right now that it says the first rule of business is never tell everything. And it's like a number 2.
What's number 2?
You get it? You get it? Yeah, it took me a while. I was like, you missing number 2. Oh, I get it. Okay, y'all. Okay, you smart. When I understood that was a poisonous mentality. After I read that book, something happened. A domino effect happened. You know when you find good information that leads you on another rabbit hole, a good rabbit hole, not the one where you were watching a video from you were watching a video from Gary Vee and then you watching cats fighting over pizza 3 hours later. I don't know how to happen. Not one of those, a rabbit hole where you're like, yo, I'm so inspired, I'm filled up with so much information. That was me. And I started going and I started like listening to a podcast called Entrepreneurs on Fire by John Lee Dumas. And basically what he does, if you've never heard it before, he talks to entrepreneurs every single day. He doesn't miss a day. Every day a podcast comes out of him talking to an entrepreneur. He used to do a format where he would ask them questions like, what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? These are multimillionaires who are sharing this. We don't do that in hip hop. We got to go listen to a Breakfast Club interview to get just a 0.5 of some game. I had people that come to me that's like, man, did you hear what 2 Chainz said on Breakfast Club? I was like, nah, what do you say? He was like, you gotta run, you gotta walk before you run. I was like, I never looked at it like that. 2 Chainz said it. And we settled for so little. And I started realizing, I was like, man, so much stuff in hip hop we're given and it's like we're satisfied with it. I was too. I was like, man, that's Jay-Z saying it. But that's not it. This is not it. And so when I started listening to this podcast, what I realized that one question that always intrigued me, what are your streams of revenue? They would ask every millionaire that was on there. It would be like the mom who started making her own salts, and then that business turned into multi-million-dollar business. It was the guy that started up a business within his garage, and he was repairing bowling balls, right? And then that turns into a multi-million-dollar business. It was even like the billionaires. You know the one thing they all had in common for streams of revenue, because they all had very different streams of revenue. One thing they had in common, teaching. One of the streams of revenue was either software they taught, or they spent some of their time teaching. That is what I learned in The Go Giver. That value exchange, I'm not up here because this is just the right thing to do, because I'm all purist and I don't got bills. I have bills. But the way that I never have to worry about those, I learned a concept in that if you want to make $1 million, what do you have of value that 1 million people are willing to pay $1 for? Change that math and do it however you want to. You may have something that's a lot. I know all of us in this room got something of more value than $1. When I had that mindset, that launched my YouTube. That launched when people say, man, 100,000 subscribers, where'd they come from? I don't know. I just sat down and I said, I have to shoot these videos. I have to give this value. What I have is value. I don't care if I'm not a famous music producer like Sunny Digital or Metro. It doesn't matter. I have information that is one day, I can see myself one day speaking in front of an audience. I can one day see myself speaking in front of an audience and I know it can happen, but I just got to keep giving this value. Bro, what are you doing on YouTube? YouTube is dead. Bro, what are you doing? Bro, you looking crazy out here. You shooting with your iPhone? Bro, like, get a real camera. I'm not going to get, this is all I need. Your audio is terrible. Duly noted. Go to Guitar Center, get a lavalier mic. Curtis King at CurtisKingBeats.com. We're doing an artist marketing 911. Rappers, what I want to talk to you about is this. I did that so much, and my mom lived with me at the time. She's like, you ever get tired of seeing rappers and producers? And I didn't realize how much I say it until people remind me. I even had a guy on Twitter one time, he made a montage, he's like, rappers and producers. I was like, you funny, that was real funny. But my goal that I'm hoping to achieve, to let you know is this, look. Whatever it is that you desire, we're gonna get into this Q&A as well, but whatever it is that you desire, at some point in time, you're gonna have to go into something that I call machine mode, right? Give you an example of what machine mode, you've all used it before. When you're driving down the street, and that light comes on for your gas, and you have the money, what do?
Yeah.
Do you have to think about it? No. Sometimes you might whine about it sometimes, but do you think about it? Or do you have to get that in order to get home? Right? I found myself whining about drinking water. It don't taste good, there's no flavor. Oh my God. Man, okay, I'll put some Mio in it. Oh, it's so nasty. Literally, that's the gas for my body. And if you don't have enough water, you will faint first and then you'll die. Same thing with but why is it with the car? We know because it is a machine, and we know that the machine operates. It's not always easy, but it is simple. Just get it done. I found myself whining about the gym. Why? Because I applied too many steps to what I'm doing. You perhaps are doing that with your beats. You're thinking about, I want to make this type of beat, but man, it can't be too many instruments because I heard this one beat. But man, I want to kind of have like the bounce of this beat, but then man, I want to have like, it's got to be made for artists too. It's got to sell. By the time you make that beat, you don't even like it. How often do you shop at buffets? It's a random question, Curtis. How often do you eat at buffets? I don't. I'm gonna answer with you. I don't. Why? Because it's too much. It's too much going on. I don't want to think about sushi while I'm thinking about cheese pizza. I just don't. Because something for everybody is something for nobody.
Come on.
How many times have I had to tell myself when making a beat, and it get to a point where I was like, I make these type beats. All right, what's hot right now? All right, I'm gonna make a Denzel Curry type of beat mixed with Lady Gaga, cause she gonna pop it right now. And then it's gonna be like, but it's gotta be slow. You know what I mean? Because everybody's rapping at like 140 BPM. But like, I'm gonna do halftime because I heard something in this Kanye record. And by the time it gets to the consumer, what is this? Man, that's my style. When you ask the producer, what is something that they always describe, when you say describe your style, what do they say? I do a little bit of everything. Stop it. Stop it. I'll tell you what the reality of it is, and I've said that before. You have one dominant sound that you know is your sound. That is your bread and butter. If somebody says you have to make a fire beat to save your life, you're not gonna do a little bit of everything. If you make trap, you about to make that trap beat. You do R&B, you about to make the most luscious chord progressions that you learn in chord magic by busy work or music theory in a day. You're gonna put the most lush chords you can, because that is what you do. I learned an acronym from that podcast that I was talking about earlier. Focus. Follow one course until success. I do consultations on a regular basis with producers. Before they tell me like what they want to get accomplished, because I get all kinds of stuff. I want to be XXL freshman producer. Okay, what are you doing right now? Man, I started about 2 months ago, but like, you know what I'm saying? I got big dreams. I need to get out here. Do you have a website? Nah, man, I don't have no website. What's your SoundCloud numbers looking like? You ask a shallow question, you're going to get shallow questions back and shallow answers produced. You ask questions with no specific direction, you're going to be all over the place. Follow one course until success.
Trust the process.
Trust the process. My one piece of advice, especially for those of you in this internet e-commerce, you just got to find one thing you can kill it at. It may not actually be making beats for rappers to rap on. You may make your first 100,000 off of sound kits. Right? Taking a notch back to the person we mentioned earlier, my assumption is he makes the majority of his money before he got into the industry off of sound kits. Yeah. Guess what? You're his competition. If he has influence over you and you're scared, what are you gonna do? Not you. I'm just saying anybody. Because you're like, I don't want that smoke with him. If he knows that you're scared, and he says that, you're still competition. That's why these producers that I told you before that do give you those cliche answers and they be standing like this and they be like, man, just believe in yourself. They look at you as competition. They're scared. Why? Because that is a mindset of scarcity and not abundance. You'll be surprised how many people are in leadership positions with follower qualities. I met that. It's funny because me and Epic were talking about this. I had execs that told me to my face, you're too smart for this industry. You will get blackballed. Because if somebody cannot control your thinking, if somebody cannot stop you, because you know when something don't sound right and you're going to speak up for yourself. The person that's in a position that feels insecure about their position, that is not actually a leader, is going to get rid of me. And it's really easy to do that. Oh man, he's a pain to work with. Nah, don't bring him to the studio. Bro, no, we had him in here last week, man. His beats is terrible. They won't even call me if that happens. So easy. The industry is very small. It's a lot smaller than what we think. It's a lot of rappers and a lot of producers, but the industry is very small. Even thinking about labels and thinking about the umbrellas that it is, like they're all, like people say, okay, give an example. When Kanye and 50 Cent were having a battle, who won?
Kanye.
Universal Records won that.
Oh.
Because both of them were underneath him. So Universal Music owned both Def Jam and Shady Aftermath and Interscope. They basically were the branch underneath that. That's why them two were on magazines together face to face. Ooh, who's gonna win this battle? Universal. What I aspire for you, I don't want you to be just the next Sonny Digital. I want you to be the Universal of your own. That's the basis of the stuff that I give you. That's why sometimes people get so offended by the stuff I say. That last video I did about rappers not needing producers, I knew that was gonna piss some people off. But I need to shake people up so they realize, like, look, this ain't no game. If you aimlessly walk around and you keep continuing the same habits, you won't have what you want. And then when you get what you won't know what to do with it. You won't even want it. I know that because it happened to me. I had the money, it was there. But now I have the money and I have the happiness, and I'll take the happiness any day, right? I had situations even within the last 2 years where I'm transitioning from relationship and I lost a house that I was paying the majority of money for, and I found myself making great amount of money. But because of the situation, I'm sleeping on my buddy's couch. How did we get here again? It's only 2 years ago, a year and a half, 2 years ago. How does this happen again? Because there's things that still need to be corrected, right? We're all work in progress. What you're looking at right now is a success story, but it's not something that is done. And that's what I want to make sure that I instill within you. There's a lot of things I wanted to cover, but I got to make sure I'm looking at time. We're looking like we got to watch, and I'm tripping. Oh my gosh, yeah, we definitely went over time. Curtis, shut up. So here's the thing I want to get to, and I think this is the practical stuff. I don't want to just leave you with a bunch of perspiration. You can get that any day. The stuff that I want to leave you with today is as following. And gang, you can come join me because I want to make sure that we do the Q&A. We may have to end up paying for some extra time. I'll do that. I got that. But streams of revenue. Should we talk about that?
Yeah.
I don't want to leave you with just a bunch of, you didn't come down from Frisco for just a bunch of perspiration. You can get that at home on your iPhone or your phone. Streams of revenue as it is for me is this, and I'll share that with you because I believe that there's value in you understanding that there's more than just, I'll tell you like this, beats now, last year 50% of my revenue was selling beats online. Now it's about 15, right? So let's break it down. I'm gonna actually write this down. I'm gonna just go ahead and push through this pain with the wrist and all of that. I got past those first points, which is most important to me, which is change your attitude. I actually got to all of them. Change your attitude, change your language, unlock your energy, give value, be independent.
Yo, Curtis,
yes, sir.
I want someone to rap for you, I can rap for you.
Man, I appreciate that. Yeah, round of applause for you once again, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. You even gave me a firm handshake on that. Okay, so first, let's talk about the streams of revenue. So the first one I want to talk about, these online courses. So these are streams of revenue, online courses.
Am I writing big enough?
Yeah.
That's a lot more pretty than what my writing was. Online courses. This came to me because of that man right there. Because he was the only one that I saw in a space where he was creating these courses that were so well put together that you would expect these from marketing individuals. Like you would expect a Grant Cardone or a Les, or somebody who's like Tony Robbins that has a bunch of these courses online. He took that same business acumen and applied it to our business because he knew producers are going to be seen as the entrepreneurs. It's going to be a very common thing. Forget the word language, no more struggling musicians. They don't exist, not in this room. Online courses was something I said, you know what? I don't have an abundance of credits. Like I have Kendrick Lamar that I work with, Absol, I have E40, I have MTV bands. There's an abundance in that, but I don't have an abundance of more current names. What I have an abundance of is information. Somebody in here I know has an abundance of information. Who knows how to play the keys? Who knows how to read music? You got a course in you that you got to share with somebody who doesn't know anything about reading music, right? How many in here know how to sound design? Ooh, you got course money out there waiting for you, right? How many in here? How many in here know your way around Ableton or Logic or Reason? Courses. I had a course, and I'm nowhere near as successful as my man's over here. That's why I'm shadowing him and asking him a bunch of information. But I had a course called How to Create Your Own Music Producer Website course. And mind you, I had courses before. They did pretty well. This was the first one that I had that did $10,000 a month. Right? It's just a course. We're not talking about I had to sell a beat. Forget it. All that stuff was taken care of. $10,000 in a month from that one course, how to create a website. And here's the thing about it. I created this website course because there was a void. Nobody else was making website courses that producers could understand from a producer who had a successful beat-selling website. So it made sense. You have something right now. I don't care if you're 17, you got a 14-year-old brother who don't know anything about production. Now duplicate that brother times 100,000 people on the internet. Which you don't need 100,000, gang, you said 1,000. You find 1,000 people that pay you $100 a year, what did you make that year? Doesn't seem so out of reach anymore, does it? Now, physically having to walk, you talking about the old school grind, having to physically meet 1,000 people, that sounds like, you better bring an energetic friend, right? But on the internet, you have access every day. And you literally, like if the new currency is attention, you can do the goofiest thing in the world and that gets all kind of people, right? How much stuff do you see on a regular basis? It's like, why is this viral? Why? But it is. Online courses, start to think about the things that you can give value to the market, things that you can contribute to the market that nobody else, it can be something that somebody already else has done, but nobody wants to listen to it except for the people who follow you. You say it in a certain way, that's like, man, like, I like the way Curtis explains things, but man, you broke it down in a way that I understand. You can say it in a way that translates well to them. That's the first one. The second one for me, of course, drum kits, construction kits. These are some of the obvious ones, obviously, right?
Sound kits or drum kits?
Sound kits or drum kits. You can put drum kits if need be. Yeah, you're a racer too, brother. Appreciate you doing this once again.
Yeah, no worries, man.
So drum kits is another one. Let's keep it moving. Obviously, selling beats online is another stream of revenue. Now the next one, affiliate marketing. I was so scared of what affiliate marketing, what is that? Why it sounds too salesy to me. Like I'm from the school of like, as I'm listening to Game Talk and I'm like, okay, yeah, I gotta go back and I gotta go trace that again. Cause like you have there's certain things that you talk about that I'm like, I gotta let that sit for a little bit. And so when I heard the term affiliate marketing, I was like, yeah, that sounds, it's almost like music industry terminology. Sometimes we just like, split sheets, I'm gonna let you talk to my manager. But I had to stop being afraid of affiliate marketing. I didn't understand how powerful that can be until I got a check, an unexpected check from DistroKid for $1,700. Right? And to me, that's not it's abundantly speaking, that is a lot of money, but it wasn't like, that doesn't rival what I do with the courses, but it was $1,000. $1,300, $1,700, rent is taken care of from DistroKid. Thanks, Distro. But that was because I literally built an audience. And some of us don't need to have, at the time I had 50,000 subscribers, you don't need that to do that. You just need to gain influence over your audience, right? There's people in here right now who have a stronger influence over your 50 people than I have over 100,000, right? I'm fighting for a fraction of that because I'm fighting for those people who were there since day one. There's a lot of looky-loos. Like it's funny, it took me almost a week and a half to get 1,000 followers. The moment I went past 100,000, once I go out the looky-loos, I got 1,000 in like 3 hours because I had 100,000. It's that pinball effect of influence. So you don't worry about the numbers right now. If you have 50, if you have 100, figure out how to gain, and you already have influence. I bet you right now, there's something they look for you for. Yo, just listen for the things they tell you. Yo, your drums are smacking. Your 808s are crazy. Yo, what do you use? Oh, I use Serum. Crazy, where can I get that from? My affiliate link.
I actually got a VSC from your affiliate link. The one you said, Cop Ozone 8.
Yeah.
I actually copped a little clipper.
What's crazy about that is that there's certain people, and there may be some folks in the room who feel guilty doing that. They feel like they're asking for something. That's been something embedded in our minds in hip hop, to feel guilty for generating income. That's the goofiest thing in the world. I fell for that.
So
if you have influence, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, for someone like us,
Yeah.
how can we get into that grouping of getting affiliate marketing?
Affiliate marketing, most times, their goal, let me break it down like this. The goal of affiliate marketing is for a company to literally employ your services, employ you to speak on their behalf, and then reward you with the percentage for you speaking about their company to your audience. There are so many affiliate programs. Right now, you can get a distro kit and give anybody 7% off on your distro kit. For anybody who wants to stream their music, you can give them a link and say, hey, I've been using this for my last project. Man, it's crazy. Like, I pay $19 a year and I upload unlimited music. Tell your Instagram audience that. And then tell them, look, if you want to get 7% off, use this link. Immediately when they use that link and they sign up, that's money off to the side for you that you don't have to work for. You did one piece of content for it. Now, granted, I do want to give you some realistic things. For me, that $1,700 check came from me putting that in front of an audience after I basically highlighted a need. Producers need to put their music on streaming websites. That's the last streamer revenue action. I'm gonna get some more on affiliate marketing, but streaming. That's not just for rappers. That ain't just for artists. That's for us too. Right? I can't tell you, my wife at, how many times have you heard the J Dilla Pandora station? She said, "Oh my God! If you don't cut off this, elevator music, like, because it plays all kind of stuff. She ain't talking about Dilla, but she talking about all kind of stuff where it's just like I just like listening to instrumentals, especially when I'm driving, because my anxiety gets high sometimes when I'm driving, and I like to like cool out, and the beats are the perfect thing for me. Same thing for you. You don't have to make a tight beat. You just got to make a beat that's real to you. What kind of beats do you make? What kind of vibe would you say it is?
Melodic.
Melodic. Somebody needs that melodic vibe because they're going through a heartbreak right now.
Come on.
And they're gonna come looking for your Spotify playlist. Melodic vibes. Melodic vibes for the heartbroken. That's that man's business already. And all he did was create a Spotify playlist. Here's the thing about it. Create a playlist, have them coming to you, insert your music in the middle of that. Why? Because it's your rules. You made the playlist. I made one where, I remember one time I had a song called Glory that I made as a rapper. And I looked up, my numbers weren't that crazy. I made a song called Glory. It had 50,000 streams on Spotify. I said, what? The video didn't have but 2,000 views, right? 50,000 streams. I got added to somebody's playlist. Put it out there, the opportunity will present itself, right? But the thing about it is, what I hope that folks understand within this room, it's not just one money play. I know somebody in here earlier was like, I'm trying to make some money. I feel you. It's not just one money play. It's planting your seeds in so many places that you end up getting checks that you forgot about. affiliate marketing, there's a lot of them that do that. So I started saying, okay, I go legit. I threw away all my pirated copies. That's something I'm not gonna go into that today, but I threw away all my pirated stuff. I reversed the curse of whatever that was causing. I went legit. I really went legit. I got my Sony Vegas Pro. I did my Adobe Audition. I got all that stuff, and then I said, what if I signed up for an affiliate program and started making money off of this thing that I'm promoting? I didn't feel so entitled anymore. There's a lot of producers that was like, well, we give them free promotion. They should just let us use a pirate version. Really? My book got pirated online. I didn't feel the same way no more. What does it feel like when somebody sends you a text, this your book, your audio book? Yeah, why is it a zip file? Somebody got me. I feel like FL. I was like, I'm putting strikes on everybody in here. You get a strike, you get a, no, I felt it. So, my point is this, these are just a microcosm of mine. You may find more. It may not be teaching online for you, it may be finding, if you at least understand beginner's piano, it may be finding out how you can get 15, 10-year-olds to come in there and learn how to play the piano. Easy beginner. You don't got to be a major producer for that. You just got to know what you're doing. Create that business where you're at. That's your independence. You don't need 50% of the market. You just need a fraction. Your friend that saw you, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, so I was going to share. Actually, what I've found, I tutor as a side business. I teach kids.
Yeah.
And I teach them like math and science. But what I started doing is actually, because I wanted to involve music with it too, I started bringing my music production rig, like my interface and my mic and my laptop,
right,
over to these kids' houses, and we started making beats about math. So they started making like math raps and stuff. And the kids love, like, so I let the kids make the beat and I like set it up.
That's a business.
That's a business.
Somebody out there.
It's been amazing. Like the kids love it, and now I charge between $60 and $100 an hour to do it.
And they didn't ask, you produce for Future? I don't want that. No, because when you have the information and somebody is hungry for it, I'll give you an example. Right now, somebody in I had it happen to me. Somebody in South Dakota was doing an open mic. When I tried to figure out what my demographic was, somebody from South Dakota was an open mic, okay? He was doing an open mic. He came to me, he was like, yo, I want to buy some beats from you, Curtis. I said, cool. I said, what are you doing, a project? He said, no, I'm doing an open mic. And nobody out here has like West Coast beats. What I meant to him, I was Dr. Dre to him. Not because I was Dr. Dre, not because my quality was anywhere, it doesn't matter. To him, that's the closest thing, and nobody else here has that. And that's what the internet is to me. Everybody has their own priority. Everybody has their own story, right? And it's the language, going back to that, the things that we keep telling ourselves, we limit our own opportunities. This man just told you, he's tutoring, he brought in some equipment, and now they're sitting utilizing this equipment. What happens when those kids, how old are they again?
These kids are between like 5 and 10.
5 and 10. Who do you think they're going to go to if he has a course when they're 10 and 12 and 13 and 14 and they want to learn how to make beats? If he has a course available, why wouldn't I go to the guy that I came up with? How many people in here remember the person that taught you how to ride a bike? Tie your shoes. There's certain things that you teach people that don't never leave them, no matter how young you are. That's what I'm trying to get at. So when we're talking about streams of revenue, these are mine. And I was willing to share that because I just want to plant a seed. You may look at this and say, well, right now selling beats is not actually doing that for me, but this affiliate marketing seems to be making a lot of sense. And I'll give you this, if you are in the gym on a regular basis and your friends are like, man, what kind of supplements are you working? Forget producer stuff. Now all of a sudden the supplements that you use, the pre-workouts, the proteins that you use, and I bet you they got an affiliate link. Why? Because they want to make money too. And when you generate income for them, the reward is them paying you as well. Once again, it's that value exchange. So what I'm hoping is that the whole idea of this event, why I invited Game, and I want us thinking outside the box. I want us realizing that this is the reality of what it looks like for whatever my tier of success is, right? This is what it looks like. I've created a 6-figure business with CurtisKingBeats.com. Ain't no 7-figure, like what Mans was talking about, but look, like it's at a place where it's like, I'm good, I'm comfortable, we're getting ready to move into a house in January, and look. before I met my wife, mind you, before I met my wife, I was in a bachelor pad. I was like, all I need is this space, somewhere to make beats. She came in there. She's like, where your bed at? I said, oh no, I got shoes over there. I got a couch. I had FL Studio. I had a TV. I had some LED lights. I had KRKs. You good? Thank you once again. I don't want to have you standing up here. Yeah. I had a few fake candles and all that good stuff. A few fake candles, and that's all I had because I was hungry for what I'm doing now. So all I want to do, like I said once again, I want to make sure that I give you the foundation of what it requires. It's not just one stream of revenue. You may not even like selling beats. You may not like having to. Oh my gosh! When I first started, I had times where I would have a disagreement first with the customer, and then it would turn into an argument on their behalf. And then you have to ask the question like, how old are you? Some of the stuff you're saying right now is crazy. Man, I'm 12, man, but like you're wasting my time. Are you gonna give me this beat for $14 a night? I was arguing with 12 and 14-year-olds. I didn't like that part of the business. That's the part where I was like, maybe I'm not gonna sell beats forever. Maybe for you that's not a big deal. Maybe for you you'll say, you know what, I'll take that 14 even though my beats are 30. I'll take it because it's building towards the empire. Who cares? That's my mindset now. I would have changed it. I would have given him a discount code and let him go about his business. But I was thinking from a place of scarcity. I'm not gonna give you nothing. Come on, man. Arguing with me. Go play some game. Fortnite, yeah, play some Fortnite. Come on. My shoulder getting all strong. Come on, child. But no, you gotta figure out what it is for you. You very well may start that playlist up tonight. The melodic vibes. I'm gonna look for it. Melodic vibes for the heartbroken. And then you bring in that song that I did, 50,000 streams. It's a $300 check. But it wasn't something I was looking for. How beautiful is it to wake up every morning knowing that some income is going to come in and not have to just everything have, like I was in a place one time where it was like everything has to make money. This beat has to be the biggest seller. That is a very stressful place to be. I don't want any of you to have to be there for very long. The grind is real, right? The struggle is a part of the grind, right? I showed you that example about the plane. It's going to happen. You have to go off course and know how to get back on course. But struggling artists is not part of the language. That is a lifelong poisonous language. I wouldn't want anybody here to use because I was using it. But I've talked your ears off. I'm so glad that I've had this opportunity to speak with you. I want to do a short Q&A. And could you please join me again, sir? Yeah. That was a conclusion.